Well, happy Tariff Day. Today is Saturday, February 1st, and this is the day that our convicted felon president has promised to start slapping massive tariffs on some of our biggest trading partners. He has promised 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico and a 10% tariff on China. So this is really the day when the idiots who voted for this guy are really going to start finding out what exactly it is that they voted for, because they're idiots and they really don't have any clue what they voted for. And honestly, they're probably still not going to get it, but they will suffer the consequences of their vote nonetheless. So I'd like to play for you a montage of Canadian leaders from yesterday making comments about these promised tariffs that are supposed to start kicking in against their country today. Listen to this.
As President Trump stated yesterday, he is still committed to placing tariffs on Canada starting as early as tomorrow, possibly. Now, we don't know precisely what that could look like, but I do know two things. First, if the president does choose to implement any tariffs against Canada, we're ready with a response. A purposeful, forceful, but reasonable, immediate response. It's not what we want, but if he moves forward, we will also act.
President Trump's tariffs on Canada could be imposed as early as tomorrow. President Trump thinks Canada will cave in. We will never, ever bow down to a bully. Canadians will always stick together. And we won't stand by as tariffs hurt our workers and their families. Canadians need to remain united. Now, let me be clear. This situation, unfortunately, could not be more serious. And at times like these, we need serious leadership and a serious plan. I'm ready to stand up for Canada. Who's with me?
We are here this morning, my friends, as an unlikely group with leaders from across the political spectrum who've come together with cultural leaders, artists, academics, athletes, labor activists, and Indigenous militant activists. We represent the incredible regions of our beautiful country, and we are here for one reason. Our nation, our beloved Canada, is under threat. It is an economic threat, but it's also a threat to our values of decency and inclusion. It's a threat to our sovereignty and our very future as a nation. The threat comes, of course, from the President of the United States, a convicted felon and known predator. He's threatening massive tariffs to try and break us as a people. But the threat is also being driven by the hate algorithms of the oligarchs like Elon Musk. And there is the threat from people in our own country who would sell out our birthright to appease the gangster class from Mar-a-Lago. That is not going to happen.
Yesterday, President Trump continued his campaign to undermine Canada. For the second time in a matter of days, he sat in his Oval Office and mused about tariffs on Canada. He says they're coming tomorrow. I wish Canada wasn't in this position. I wish we were working together to make Canada and the United States the richest, most successful, safest, and most secure two countries on the planet. But nobody's ever solved a problem by wishing it away. We have to play the hand we're dealt. If tariffs do in fact come tomorrow, the federal government needs to be ready to immediately implement a strong and forceful response. Dollar for dollar, tariff for tariff. The federal government has my full support to hit back and hit back hard.
So there you have it. We are going to be now, if Donald Trump actually goes through with these tariffs, and I tried to confirm this morning that these tariffs are going to start being imposed and collected today, but I haven't been able to confirm that yet. And so anything's possible. The guy could still back down and then just declare a victory, just pretend that Canada and China and Mexico all gave in to his demands and claim some big victory and not impose the tariffs. That is certainly a possibility. But assuming he goes through with them, then today is the beginning of trade wars. We are going to be in trade wars against some of our biggest trading partners and, some of our closest allies. Canada, pretty close ally. Mexico is an ally. China, not so much, but still, big trading partner. And getting into a trade war with these countries is going to have devastating consequences to the United States, including all of the morons who voted for this guy. I know they think they're somehow going to be exempt from all the damage that he is going to cause. They somehow believe that the damage is only going to be done to the people that they hate. I don't know why they believe this. Well, they believe it because they're stupid, but that's what they believe. They believe that Donald Trump is only going to harm the people that they hate. Well, they're in for a rude awakening because we're all going to be harmed by Donald Trump's disastrous policies. Now, it's not just the fact that these goods that we import from these countries are going to be more expensive now because of the tariffs. That's obviously going to happen. But it's also American products that are going to be more expensive because a lot of products that are made in the United States are made with raw materials and component parts that are imported from other countries. Now look where I am. This gorgeous backdrop. I am, not too far from Canada. You know what we import a lot of from Canada? Lumber. Trees. Canada has a lot of trees. And we import a lot of lumber from Canada. And you know what we use lumber for, among other things? Construction of homes and buildings. And, these Trump cultists complain about the price of housing in this country. Rightfully so. Housing in this country is ridiculously expensive. We have a real crisis in that regard. But how does slapping 25% tariffs on Canada, a country from which we get a lot of lumber, how is that going to reduce the price of housing in this country? It's not going to. It's going to make housing more expensive. If you make the raw materials for building houses more expensive, you make the houses more expensive. And not just that, I don't want to get sidetracked on this, but it's related. These mass deportations, who are they going to be rounding up? Undocumented immigrants. And undocumented immigrants make up a substantial portion of the workforce in the construction industry that build the houses. So you're making the raw material, the lumber that we use to build the houses, and the workers that build the houses, you're deporting them. And even if you don't round them up, they're not showing up to work, just like the agricultural workers. They're afraid of being rounded up by ICE agents, stuck in a concentration camp for months before finally being deported. So they're not showing up to work. They're being deported. So our workforce in the construction industry is dwindling in size. We don't have people to build the houses, and the materials we use to build the houses are going up in price thanks to Donald Trump's tariffs. And here's another thing, too, because Trump and his cult, because they're stupid, think that if we slap massive tariffs on these imported goods, that will cause and will force, really, companies that currently produce goods outside the country to open up plants and start building their products, making their products here in this country. That might happen here and there, but by and large, that's not going to happen. Why? Well, number one, no one is going to move their operation to the United States and put in all the capital investment of building manufacturing facilities just because this orange buffoon, who is term limited and only has 4 years, and I know some of you people think he'll never leave office. Let's just put that to the side for a minute. But this buffoon's only going to be in office for less than 4 years now. No one's going to make a decision based on this lunatic's ravings and come here and put in all the investment to build new manufacturing plants here just because of this guy. They're going to wait this out. They're not going to do that. On top of that, if you hadn't noticed, there's nothing but chaos in this country right now. The rule of law out the window. He's firing people left and right. He's illegally and unconstitutionally doing all kinds of things with the federal government. That is massive chaos and instability. If you want businesses to operate and feel comfortable operating in your country and moving to your country, you need rule of law. You need stability. No one is going to move their operation from a foreign country over here amidst all this chaos. It's not going to happen. Okay, what else I wanted to talk about here? Oh, finally, our allies, right? This is going to have a horrible effect on the United States vis-a-vis our relationship with other countries. Not just the countries that we're slapping these tariffs on, like Canada, one of our closest allies and greatest trading partners, but other countries around the world. Our trade relationships with them are extremely important, not just for the trade, but for the relationship itself. And that has an effect on the nature of our other kinds of relationships with them, our defense relationships and other relationships. And, the Republican Party used to understand the importance of trade. The Republican Party was not always a fascist, isolationist cult of personality. And it wasn't all that long ago that the Republican Party was for free trade and strong relationships with our allies. Take a listen to Ronald Reagan. Watch this clip. Tell me if this sounds in any way like today's Republican Party.
Our peaceful trading partners are not our enemies. They are our allies. We should beware of the demagogues who are ready to declare a trade war against our friends, weakening our economy, our national security, and the entire free world, all while cynically waving the American flag. The expansion of the international economy is not a foreign invasion. It is an American triumph, one we worked hard to achieve, and something central to our vision of a peaceful and prosperous world of freedom. After the Second World War, America led the way to dismantle trade barriers and create a world trading system that set the stage for decades of unparalleled economic growth. Yes, back in 1776, our founding fathers believed that free trade was worth fighting for, and we can celebrate their victory, because today, trade is at the core of the alliance that secure the peace and guarantee our freedom. It is the source of our prosperity and the path to an even brighter future for America.
So that was the Republican Party of just a few decades ago. Now, this is the Republican Party. Take a look at this clip of Donald Trump talking about the European Union.
Am I going to impose tariffs on the European Union? Do you want the truthful answer, or should I give you a political answer? Absolutely. Absolutely. The European Union has treated us so terribly.
Guys, this is going to be an unmitigated disaster. The morons who voted for this have absolutely no idea what they've done. But they have really done a number on this country, and we are all going to suffer the consequences. Not just us, not just the people that the Trump cult hates, but the Trump cult themselves. They really screwed us over, and though they may never realize what's happening to them and why, they have just screwed themselves over just as much as they've screwed the rest of us. So good job, America. To all you people who voted for Donald Trump, way to go, dumbasses. God save us from the stupidity of the average American. Thanks so much for watching. Happy Tariff Day. Talk to you again soon.